Welcome, everyone, to the Daily Juice Podcast on the Betting Pros Network. I'm your host, Sean, stacking the money green. As always, give me a follow on Twitter at Sean T. Green. And, of course, we're brought to you by BetMGM. Use the promo code JUICE. Get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Oh, my. What a collapse by the Los Angeles Chargers. The crazy thing is, I think everyone who had money on the Chargers could see it coming a mile away. When they let up that touchdown right before half, when they weren't going for it on 4th and 3. Brandon Staley was like the most aggressive coach of all time, going for it on every 4th down. Then he read a couple of blogs, got sensitive. All of a sudden, he's not going for it on 4th down. 4th and 3, 4th and goal from the 3, 4th and goal from the 4, 4th and 3 from the 22, all kick field goals. What are you doing, Brandon Staley? How is it even mathematically impossible? You lose the turnover battle by 5-0 in the turnover battle, and you lose the game. That was insane. It's mathematically insane. The only thing you can take away is if you're on the Chargers, the gambling gods owe us. Gambling gods, I know you're listening. You owe us. And again, this is what I get for backing Brandon Staley and the Chargers. I've said many times the Chargers are going to charge. I thought Trevor Lawrence would have a bad game. I thought he'd be overwhelmed by the moment. I like the Chargers defense against him. Was my handicap wrong? I guess. 4 interceptions to start the game, followed up by 4 touchdowns. And yes, you saw it coming a mile away. It was a death by 1,000 paper cuts. It was so painful. Oh, man, I was watching with my buddy, Justin. Shout out to Justin. Huge Chargers fan. And he was like, just obviously upset, but not even like he also saw it coming. And the Chargers have just put him through so much. He just goes, yeah, I don't know what else to say. He just kept going, well, hey, at least Brandon Staley gets fired. And certainly, Herbert deserves some blame. The defense deserves some blame. Tons of credit goes to Doug Peterson, just super aggressive, and aggressiveness pays off in the playoffs. It's not rocket science. Oh my God, what a brutal game. And if that wasn't painful enough, just the game itself, the Donald Parham anytime touchdowns. He had one. He was wide open in the end zone. Herbert had a really nice ball, and then the defender comes in and tips it away at the last second. And then there was another one where he's wide open in the end zone. Didn't see him, whatever it was. All right, so a brutal night because of the Chargers. Chargers have killed me. Props weren't great either. Elijah Mitchell over 40.5. I somehow picked the one guy who wasn't getting it done against the Seahawks. Everyone else's money. He did get the carries. That's any consolation. No punt first drive, of course, didn't hit because the Chargers intercepted him. They still blew the game. What else do we got to get to? On the positive side, did hit the 2-unit play with the 49ers. -9. Started off to a rough start. Again, these quarterbacks in their first starts tend to start out rough. Brock Purdy, though, righted the ship. I mean, there's just so much talent around him. He deserves credit as well. He played a really good game. But ultimately, it was just too much. But I do think you could throw in the 49ers. I didn't think Geno Smith would be able to get it done. But, yeah, he played an okay game. Just that, once he fumbled, that kind of turned the tide for the 49ers. And just as a fan, I mean, regardless of what side you're on, they called him in both games. The illegal man downfield. Like, why are we calling this? No one cares about an offensive lineman going 3 yards down the field. I get why they have a rule there. But, like, come on. They put it in to, like, slow down the RPO stuff, but it's like you're calling it, and it has no impact on the game except to just infuriate people. I've had them go for and against me, and it's not even my bets. It's just the NFL refs. What are you doing? No one cares. No one cares if the guy's 2.5 yards down the field. It doesn't matter. All right. Enough bitching. Let's get to the picks. Before we do, hey, if you guys haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, what are you doing? YouTube.com/bettingpros. Comment on this video. Automatically entered to win a chance for a 1-year free premium upgrade to Betting Pros Premium. Again, so much good info. Again, they sort out the top rated bets, the prop tool. Highly recommend that. And they got you covered for a bunch of sports, NFL, NBA, college basketball, so much going on. If you don't feel like upgrading, just or waiting and winning the contest, although, hey, toss a comment in. Every comment is an entry. bettingpros.com/upgrade. Bet smarter, not harder. All right, let's get to the picks. First up, got the Miami Dolphins against the Buffalo Bills. Dolphins catching 13.5, 2 units over on BetMGM. No one is on the Dolphins. Love the fact that I'm on an island, ironically, with the Dolphin, which a Dolphin on an island wouldn't work great. Although if you were taking a Dolphin out to an island, now that's pretty awesome. Bills do struggle with elite receivers. Now, can Skylar Thompson get it to him? Obviously, that is the question. But 13.5 points is just really a ton. And now I know the 7 seeds have been getting cooked here, but I think his 7 seeds are also due. In my mind, I mean, 6-0. What is it? It's like 5-0 straight up, 4-1 ATS. I think the 7 seed is finally due. I think this could be an emotional letdown spot for the Buffalo Bills. Like, let's be real. Everything they've been through with the Damar Hamlin and then winning that game for him. I mean, they needed 2 return touchdowns to beat the Patriots, and I still think their offense isn't completely right. Josh Allen does press at times and turns the ball over. I think Miami is going to be playing with nothing to lose, and Miami did a pretty good job of slowing down their rush game previously. They have a pretty good rush defense overall. I know Raheem Mostert is out, but I think Jeff Wilson Jr. might be able to get a little stuff going for the Dolphins. And Tyreek Hill, all he needs is a little catch and run. I think Mike Gesicki might be able to get some stuff done. Again, I gave out that parlay previously. That didn't hit the Parham part, but I still like Mike Gesicki, a.k.a. Mike Gesicki, as an anytime. So feel free to get in over on that. And Buffalo as a favorite of 7 points or more this season, 1-3 ATS. So I think this is a spot where the Dolphins sneak by. Don't like them on the money line, but I do think they're going to play a competitive game. 13.5, I think, is a lot. And it feels like the Bills are already looking ahead, right? They're thinking about, hey, we got the Bengals up next, and then, what is the neutral field going to be in Atlanta? Like, there's a lot going on for the Bills. I think this is easy for them to look past the Dolphins. So I like the Dolphins catching the big number. Giants at the Vikings. I found a 2.5 over on DraftKings, getting that for 2 units. The Giants literally dumped the Gatorade in week 17, celebrating, getting into the playoffs. Meanwhile, this Vikings team, now I know the advanced numbers aren't great for the Vikings team, but again, everyone, it feels like, to me, is on the Giants. They feel like a bit of a public dog. Justin Jefferson had a massive game last time they played, 12 for 133 and a touchdown. Obviously, TJ Hawkinson is a matchup nightmare for the Vikings. And even if they, kind of shade coverage over to Hawkinson or do some stuff to pivot towards him, I think KJ Osborne might be able to get some as well. Like the linebackers for the Giants are a real liability. And this Vikings team at home, Kirk Cousins not in prime time. I think Giants maybe come out a little rusty. It's not like that offense was fired on all cylinders. And I do think resting their starters, while probably the good move overall, shout out to you, Brandon Staley, I think it could come out to hurt them here a little bit, at least how they start. And again, all the Vikings do is win 1-score games. If this is 2.5, this feels like a field goal game, and it feels like the Vikings are going to win by a field goal. So give me the Minnesota Vikings -2.5 for 2 units. Last of the games, the nightcap. Ravens at Bengals -8.5 over at BetMGM for 2 units. I think this Bengals team, and again, as a gut handicapper, feels like they have a chip on their shoulder. You saw Mixon the way he celebrated with that coin toss, kicking it. I think they have a chip on their shoulder. I don't think they showed a lot against the Ravens the last time they played. They played last week. I think it was kind of a conservative offense. Joe Burrow was a little bit rusty, but again, Joe Burrow from December on 10-3 ATS, and that even includes a loss last week ATS. Most of the places had it graded as a backdoor cover. Huntley, the quarterback for the Ravens, he's not even 100%. Like, he just started throwing again on Thursday. I just don't think they're going to be able to put up points, and he hasn't put up 20 or more points in his last 7 games. I don't think he's going to do it here. I think, the Bengals can easily get to 28-17. Feels like the score here. I just think this Ravens team is really, really going to struggle to move the ball, because without Lamar Jackson, like, the offense is built around Lamar Jackson. That's why Lamar kind of has them by the balls here as far as contract negotiation, because the whole team is built around him. Like, if you don't have Lamar Jackson as a legit running threat, it really closes off a lot of the things they do well. And I don't think Huntley's going to get much receiving help. Maybe likely does a little bit, but again, we saw what happened with quarterbacks making their first start. It's almost always a good time to fade them. Now, we had Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert. Obviously, one of those guys had to win, but you saw how much Lawrence struggled. Even Brock Purdy, who ended up having a good game, he struggled early. I think Huntley struggles early and often. So give me the Bengals laying 8.5. And last but not least, little for the degens in the back, those who practice the dark arts of degeneracy, Trenton Irwin, anytime touchdown, throwing 1 unit at plus 700 and a half a unit, 75 to 1. Or no, you know what? Sorry, I just pulled it up. It's actually 90 to 1 on DK. So the 1 unit plus 700, that's on FanDuel. That's the better price there for some reason. And then two touchdowns is 90 to 1, half unit over on DK. Hear me out. He's had 4 touchdowns this season. He had 2 touchdowns against New England. That was 2 games ago? And quietly, he's become a legit red zone threat. He has had 5 red zone targets this season, but he's got 4 in the last 5 games. So, it's crazy to me that he keeps being involved in the red zone. Legit target. Trent Irwin, 1 unit on anytime touchdown plus 700 on FanDuel. 2 touchdowns, 90 to 1 over on DK. And then Bengals minus 8.5 for 2 units. Vikings minus 2.5 for 2 units. And the Dolphins plus 13.5 for 2 units. Hey, as always, betmgm.com, promo code promo code JUICE. The show is the Juice. The Daily Juice. Shout out to the Juicers. Follow us on TikTok at Betting Pros. Follow me on follow me on Twitter. Don't follow me on TikTok. At Sean T. Green. Check out my other podcast, the Sports Gambling Podcast. And you know what to do. Subscribe, rate, and review. And as always, don't forget to let it ride.